All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the National Jazz Museum in Harlem. Excited to have you here tonight. My name is Ryan Maloney. I work here in the Programming and Education Department, and on behalf of our artistic team of Christian McBride and John Batiste and our new interim executive director, Sushil Kurian, we welcome you here to the museum. How many of you have been here before? Raise your hand. Oh, wonderful. So the rest of you, first-timers, thank you so much. There's so much that goes on in New York City every single night. We know you have a lot of options. We're glad that you gave us a chance, and we hope we will see you again. In this small, intimate space, we present about 120 public programs. That averages out to 2 a week. We've had 2 today. We had 1 on Tuesday. So there's plenty going on here. Just about every single program we do here is free and open to the public. So we'd love to have you back again. Those of you who decided to make a small donation when you came in, we really appreciate it. I won't spend too much time on this, but a significant chunk of the funding we receive and other arts organizations receive comes from our city, state, and federal government. We're already receiving notifications that that is going to change significantly. Not to put too much pressure on y'all, but we may need some help. And that's just not me just doing my normal fundraising pitch. There's a lot of uncertainty in the future. Most nonprofits function on a very slim margin. We exist and we spend the money, we engage with the public, and we deliver services to the best of our ability on a very small budget. And we don't have a lot of flexibility. If we lose funding, we have to downsize immediately. And so we are committed to weathering this storm as creative people have for centuries. We will find a way forward. But having said that, if you do feel generous today, or if you know somebody who's looking to support an organization, we're always happy to have those conversations. There's a small cash box at the front door. There's little ways to donate via card. You can also donate on jazzmuseuminharlem.org. jmih.org is our website. So please, consider supporting us. This program is one of our longest running series, Music on the Brain. It's with our good friends that are on the other side of the island of Manhattan at Columbia University, specifically Zuckerman Institute. This Music on the Brain series has been absolutely fascinating. We've been able to pair musicians and neuroscientists together for the past several years, and they get to dig into this fascinating connection between creativity and music and movement and all of these things, and really figure out what it is in the brain that's making these connections happen. We're really excited to continue the series. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Our host tonight, please welcome pianist Helen Sung.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us up here in Harlem on a Thursday night. Rainy, chilly. We really appreciate you making the trek up here, and thank Ryan again for being such a gracious host. We're going to start off the evening with some music. Please welcome Barry Stevenson on the bass. E.J. Strickland on the drums. And Carolyn Lenhart on vocals. Tonight we're going to talk about music and language and everything in between. So I thought we should start with a song about talking. And this is Rodgers and Hammerstein's from South Pacific, Happy Talk.
Happy talking, talking. star, looking like a toy, peeking through the branches of a tree. Talk about the girl, talk about the boy, counting all the ripples on the sea. Happy talking, talking happy talk. Talk about things you like to do. You gotta have a dream. If you don't have a dream, how you gonna make a dream? How you make a dream come true? Come true. How you gonna make a dream come true? Make a dream come true. Come true. Come true.
Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce our guest scientist for the evening. Please welcome Dr. Michael Shadlen. So we were talking a little bit before the program tonight, and I said I like to think of that music is coded into the universe. You know, we say music is a universal language, but music and language, the way we use it, is not exactly the same. But there's a reason why people say music is a universal language. So I say that because, you know, I was doing some reading, and they said that language, spoken language, is entirely unique to the human species, and it's not innate, it's learned after birth. And it's very interesting because it is constantly evolving and changing. It's, you know, we're adding new words every year to the Webster's Dictionary, and they said there's like around 6,000 current languages in the different regions of the world. So I guess to open this up, like what are your ideas about music being more innate, language being learned after the fact, after we are born?
I think we learn music after we're born too. So I see music and sorry about that. Music and language is pretty much playing on the same cognitive functions in just slightly different ways that, like most of art, celebrates our cognitive functions. Music, I think, is in some ways a celebratory thing of what we do with our mind.
Okay, well, I guess what I meant by innate is I think babies, mothers with babies, we sing, we vocalize without necessarily learning. You know, I guess learning a song like this, yes, we learn it after we're born, but there seems to be innate desire to make music at, you know, from birth. And is it because they were saying like with other species or like birds and bees, the whale, like that seems to be coded into their genetics because these birds, their songs are the same whether they're here or across the world, and the bees dance, like they communicate through dance, like the way they move and swarm, they communicate with each other, and that seems to be consistently the same all over the world. So.
Okay, I don't want to really get into the birds and bees. I never really understood it, to be fair. I mean, my parents explained it to me. I told them when I was a grown-up, I was going to invent a better way. And they used to torture me with anyone I would bring home. Anyway, back to serious business. I think all of what we do with language and music and dance is we have a desire to make something happen between humans where my intention, say, or yours in the moment, is you can somehow get me to understand where you are in your mind. And that is the evolution of humans, was this evolution of us in groups with I like this expression, the primacy of the between, that we understand the world because it's between humans. And that's ultimately our consciousness. And so we celebrate our consciousness by enacting our social interactions. And so the music is between us, and we all share, back to the Neil deGrasse Tyson universe thing, I mean, in the sense, just our place, our environment, our habitat, and the things that surround us that we can only wonder about are all part of our connection as humans, because we all share those same experiences.
Well, speaking of Mr. Tyson, he had a very interesting interview with a gentleman named Daniel Levitin, and they talk about how some of the that I think Neanderthals get a bad rap, right? When you call somebody a Neanderthal, that's not a compliment. But they call this interview, the topic, the singing Neanderthal, because they have found bone flutes from the time of the Neanderthals. So they were making music, and they are guessing that since those bone flutes are hard to make, they literally had to take the femur of an animal, hopefully an animal. They had to drill holes at very specific places, so that the theory is that there were other instruments too, but they just didn't survive, like skins stretched over hollow trunks. And so do scientists wonder about what communication was like back then? Because it seemed like the organization into groups happened a little bit after the Neanderthals.
I don't know about that, because I would imagine that we're not that far from Neanderthals, and a lot of us have Neanderthal genes that are still in our genome. And but I think the humans, let's just lump it all together, are social and have this intention to do things together. It probably what got us through times where other animals went extinct. Partly, probably, we're of course now making every animal extinct. But well, there is a price to pay, I guess. But anyways, we can only feel so good about our consciousness and our intellect, because it's in the end pretty destructive right now. But having said that, I'm not ready to give up mine right now, my consciousness, and although it is overrated. But that's a Freud quote. But what I think that the Neanderthals and even species of primates that are not directly on our lineage or branches off them, they hunt, they gather together. By working in groups, they were more effective. By working in groups, they survived famines and things like that. And I think that's the key. And so that working in groups means I'm working with another mind, and I might try to communicate something to that other mind that demonstrates something of use, or that other mind being maybe progeny as well.
So how do you think about the fact that Neanderthals were making instruments and making music?
Well, I don't know how they did it exactly. I mean, other than what we know from that same interview, which I thought was fascinating, the Daniel Levitin story. But what we do is we improvise, like you just did, and when we have something before us, we can tear it up, we can fold it up, we can dig with it, we can try to sing, but we can find that maybe some things, if I bang on this surface, I can transmit longer. I can play rhythms that I can hear in my head, but I need some sticks to do it, and whatever. So I think that's what they did. They were going for a tone.
And the intent is communication, or just the pleasure of making a tone? Both?
Yeah, I don't separate those two. Yeah.
Well, in that spirit, Carolyn I'm going to invite her back to the stage. We're going to play something by Charlie Hayden called First Song. And in the spirit of Before Words. Carolyn Lenhart. So can we get our scientist back on the stage quickly? So you don't think that music and language developed independently, or one is earlier than the other, or one precedes the other? Because there seems to be some chatter about music, that humans communicated musically first before language, like words.
I wouldn't be surprised at that. I don't know that for a fact. I mean, but we certainly communicated with gestures before we had words, and or before we had language. But I don't think we could really bet on that one, you know. But I do think that they serve different functions in language. So people could memorize long passages by having it rhyme, which is sort of musical or poetic, and or having it attached to the ebbs and flows of the music, because the music has a contour, and you know, and as you know, and you create that contour, and in some sense, the listener therefore kind of senses where you're going, and every now and then there's a lot of surprise, so or you don't take me where I think you're taking me, like a beautiful passage. When you guys were clashing a lot, like very near harmonies, you know, like almost minor second harmonies, you know, really tight. Then I didn't know where's it going to split off to, where's it going, and it's just gorgeous. Thank you. So but in any case, that kind of the richness of having different timbre of your, let's just do it all with voice, timbre of the voice, the volume of the voice, the articulation allows you to give your brain a little bit of time to find that word that has semantic content, to get an idea across, the idea in my head that's now in your head. So that's what I think the kind of connection is, and in that sense, there's a kind of a funny syntax, like it's almost like, you know, syntax meaning you're going to say you have a thought, and you don't rehearse that thought and say, I'm going to make a long A on that word, and I'm going to make sure I have a verb here. You just put it all in place, okay? And the way that you do that is effectively feeling the cadence, feeling the thing that you intended, and it just all comes out. And I think music allows us probably to attach the semantic parts and remember them better, because they give us that little hook to hook to hook to hook.
So you said something that struck me. Do you think that consciousness is a result of language, or that language is part of the human experience because we have consciousness, which is different than the rest of the world, the denizens of the world, would you say? Human consciousness?
Yes, I think that the key to consciousness is this drive to know the world in a way that isn't just how I would hold things, eat things, mate with things, you know, avoid toxins. It's a way to communicate, to report to another mind that I think is like mine. So so I'm flipping the usual, is your red like my red, marijuana talk in college, so not that I ever did, but I think that I'm flipping that on its head, because the presumption, again, back to the primacy of the between, is that I am communicating an experience, a thought, just what I want to do next, to another mind that I think is like mine and will understand the intention behind the thing that I'm communicating. So there, I think it all comes together. And I could have said the exact same words about music.
Well, thank you so much for that. I think right now, I feel like you're taking us on a voyage through time and human history and just the development of our humanity. And I was really moved by what Ryan said about just the role, the important place in this community that this museum serves. So I'm going to call an audible with the band. So one of my heroes in this music is the great pianist Kenny Barron. In fact, I wrote a piece for him. And I'm going to play that as an intro to one of his pieces that I play all the time, Voyage. So I don't have a name for my piece yet, so if you think of something, it's part of a suite. I wrote a big band music, actually, that are musical portraits of the legends and masters that I was lucky enough to study from and work with. And so for now, it's just called Second Movement, Kenny Barron. And then we'll go to Voyage. Thank you. Barry Stevenson. EJ Strickland. So, how much time do we have left? What time is it? Sorry, my phone is charging in the back because it was dying. Okay. So I think we have time for one more episode with our scientist, our wonderful scientist, Dr. Michael Shadlen. So I didn't follow up this thread in the most previous section when you were talking, and I'd like to discuss a little bit about music's impact, undeniable impact on our brains, and especially in terms of learning and memory. Because I think it's interesting that kids, we teach them in song. You know, when we learn our ABCs, we don't go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We have a tune that goes with it. And also, I remember, did you guys do this? I thought this was weird when I was a kid, but I guess when you go, is it the loosey-goosey or whatever? You put your right foot in, you put your right foot out. Oh, the hokey pokey. Okay. Dang. Okay. Yeah.
It's coming back.
It's coming back. Oh, yeah. You know, you learn the parts of your body, you know, your right hand, you know. So maybe if you can elucidate us. Well, you know, I read somewhere, and I think you said it's not true, but it's just the centers for processing music are older than the language centers, or it's all the same in the brain?
It's not all the same in the brain, and I don't know about the older, the ontology of it. But I mean, we use music to communicate, and as you said, it's that it's a memory hook, and I mean, I think it was either Socrates or Plato that was really lamented the introduction of written language, because they said no one's ever going to be able to memorize anymore, because the memorizing was all through song.
Yes, the Iliad,
Yeah.
and like that's in the Bible, the Psalms, the Old Testament was transmitted orally. I've tried to read the Old Testament. It's long.
But remembering something, you've tried?
I have read it, but it's long.
Right.
I can't imagine knowing it all by memory. That's incredible.
Okay, I can't imagine knowing it. So,
Oh,
so there we go. Sorry, I'm going to get canceled now.
No. I mean, do you think our world is driving us towards not being able to memorize anymore? Because I remember we all used to memorize phone numbers, and now, so what is the trend?
Well, I mean, we have crutches, and like, you know, instruments, for example, going back to the Neanderthals and so on, they allow us to do something we can't do with our voices. Okay, so, you know, or play with other people and know that those notes are not going to clash, that they're going to harmonize, or something like that. And so, you know, we use technology, and I think it's a good thing. I mean, in the wrong hands, or some technology is obviously nasty, but I wouldn't pit the two against each other. But I would. I mean, I used to practice neurology, and there was this sense that people with dementia, they can kind of grab all memories by virtue of putting them to song, or if they were musicians when they were younger, they can play. When my grandfather didn't know who I was late in life, we could still play music together.
And why do you think that is? I mean, I know I've heard.
There, I'm going to agree with you. There are different parts, different systems in the brain get cultivated for different reasons. I mean, otherwise you'd have things clashing with each other, or maybe that is why sometimes we get confused, or can't find our place in the page once our attention's taken someplace else. So, yeah.
So there's something about the relationship when you tie words to music that's incredibly resistant to distortion, I've heard scientists say.
That's Daniel Levitin's
Yes.
point, yeah. And I think it's probably right. But that's what I was trying to riff on by connecting it to grammar, or really connecting it to syntax, the structure of the sentence, the words that tell you that this was in the past tense, or whatever it's going to be. But now having that hook and landing on that beat is effectively a way to give your brain a little bit of a chance to have maybe 3 or 4 hooks that got you to that word. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've often but they come back after like 10 minutes. I go, oh, it was that, right? Why? Because my non-conscious brain was working for this, but it was coming at it from different angles, and boom, it was obvious, right? And I think we're doing this all the time, hopefully, without dementia, but who knows?
So, do you think music, well, instrumental music, because I was reading something that Plato said that he felt like music should serve the word to express it perfectly, and there was a time when the church music was becoming very complicated polyphonically, and people were complaining because they said you're obscuring the text, you're obscuring the words, so they wanted music to be simplified so that the words would be highlighted. So do you think, because I think that's interesting, because I always thought of music as being this independent thing, but I guess like anything, I feel like language is it has such a place of supremacy in our world. And how do you think, I guess, how would you think about the relationship between music and words now?
I think music, again, celebrates in a very immediate sense the thing that we're doing or trying to achieve with our consciousness, which is imbuing in another some idea I'm trying to get across. Okay, so I wouldn't pit them against each other, but language is very rich, and especially since we can write it down. Of course, you can write your music down too, but I think music is more fundamental, and the language, but it enriches us. It gives us culture.
Yes, language can be so nuanced and clear, I guess.
We tell stories, and stories have semantics, but the music has its own. The thing about the music is it has a semantic component, right? We can talk about harmony and so forth, but it is pure, because the idea that's being the contour where I'm taking you, or more likely where you're taking me musically, wasn't there even as a possibility until you imbued it in my mind. So I got surprised. Say EJ's, okay, some of the rhythms are going on when you guys were trading fours. There were just things going, just like I couldn't. I'm sitting next to Carolyn. We couldn't sit still. Okay, so it's just so immediate, and so goes right to the soul.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your incredible knowledge and expertise with us. And we have, for those of you who have been to previous programs, maybe this will not be a surprise, but we're going to invite our scientists to play with us. And this is the scientist's request. We're going to play a piece. This is by Chick Corea, Sea Journey. We're going to continue the idea of a voyage.
Hopefully.
Dr. Michael Shadlen. Thank you so much for joining us again. We want to thank Ryan Maloney and the entire staff here at the Jazz Museum. We also want to thank Kent Katner and Alyssa Mayer from the Zuckerman Institute. And we're going to send you off with something I think that kind of sums up everything that we talked about today. Words, language, music, communication, community, connection. And we're going to welcome back our wonderful vocalist, Carolyn Lenhart, to the stage. Yay. And we're going to do How High the Moon / ornithology.
Somewhere there's music, how faint the tune. Somewhere there's heaven, high the moon. There is a moon above when love is far away too, till it comes true that you love me as I love you. Somewhere there's music, it's where you are. Somewhere there's heaven, how near, how far. The darkest night would shine if you would come to me soon. Until you will, how still my heart, how high the moon, how high the moon. There is no moon above when love is far away too, till it comes true that you love me as I love you. Doesn't reach up to Mars, though the words may be wrong to the song. I'm asking how high is the moon. Da-da-da-da-dee.
E.J. Strickland on the drums. Barry Stevenson on the bass. Carolyn Lenhart on vocals. Our guest scientist and guitarist, Dr. Michael Shadlen. My name is Helen Sung. Thank you so much. Sing us something good. Good night.
Helen Sung.